facility as made since the last visit, but we have confirmed what our reports already indicated, that nothing has been happening for the last 1 year since the last payment was done in June last year. And therefore, a facility that could have helped us improve the quality of our livestock products and therefore boost our exports, a very strategic facility, disappointingly, is not able to be completed in good time, and therefore the livestock farmers and the country will continue suffering because of the failure on the part of the contractor and also on the part of government to supervise and make sure that this work is done in good time. So we are going back to the drawing board and see what we will do to make sure that the remaining works are completed as soon as possible. Meanwhile, we have instructed the contractor, since already a default notice has been issued to him, not to continue with any work, because we don't want pretense that there is some work going on that will delay us again for another 1 year in the completion of this very, very strategic project, which even the president himself visited some times back. So we don't think that public resources have been very well spent in this facility, and therefore we are going to sit down and take appropriate action on whoever is responsible for the mess.
So, Bwana Waziri, probably what is the project has been going for years, yeah? So what has been the issue? Is it the government is not funding?
Well, I would say that at some point there was a time when there were cash flow problems. That is acknowledged. But even when the resources were availed, since I've said there was already a payment, the last payment done in June last year, still no work has been done. There are no pending certificates. And the contractor has even been issued with a default notice, yet he has not done anything. He has not remobilized to come to site. He has appeared today because we are here. And the local administration tells us they haven't seen him for that long, since the last payment. So really, the problem has not been the government not providing the resources. Since even this current budget, there was money that has been repurposed, taken over by Treasury to go and do some other work, because it was not being spent.
In the past inspections, we've had government officials coming and telling the contractor, these are the timelines, and he said he's going to meet them, but it has been ongoing that one timeline, he does not meet them over and over and over. I don't know, this time, is it going to be different?
I've told you we haven't given him any timelines now, because he already had timelines which he did not meet, and he has a default notice. Default notice is an indication the government wants to cancel the contract. Yeah. And since the notice was given, he hasn't done anything.
And give it to somebody else.
Yeah, simple. So it's not like we are coming to give him timelines. Formally, he has already been given a default notice. And we want him to come. Since that default notice was given, has he done anything? Nothing. Is there any pending certificate? Nothing. So basically, we want to assure the public that we will now work on a different strategy of making sure this work is completed soonest, so that the general public that requires this facility for adding value to livestock and exporting is able to access that service. You can see we even had the chairman of the Ranchers Association here. He's telling me they have been waiting. Every time they have been waiting to make use of this facility. Remember, our country, 60% of our geography is arid and semi-arid. with 80% of the livestock in those areas. So you can imagine the waste and the challenges that people face because of lack of facility of this nature. So this is a very strategic facility that needs to be completed the soonest, and it's unfortunate that it has taken this long due to I would say negligence on the part of government officers who have been charged with the responsibility to make sure this happens. I wouldn't say a contractor, because the contractor is also supervised by somebody. So why has action not been taken on the contractor for the period he has not been able to do what he's supposed to do?
How much has so far the government spent on this project?
The last payment was
One
220 in total.
220.
220 for both phases. We have a report here we can share with you. You share that report with you. It's public knowledge anyway. That report that details what has been paid and what has not been paid. Share with them. They can read. It is very straightforward.
When I did the last one from me is that some time back there were reports of an investor from Burundi or some countries who wanted to take over and finish the pending project and take over. I don't know, what is the status of that so far?
There is a lot of interest with the facility. Any countries that the landlocked countries that border us would want to utilize this facility for their exports. Even our own country. I mean, we are not just putting it for neighbors, we are also putting it for ourselves. So this facility can add value in the East African region once it is completed. And there are investors who have also come to check to see if they can be able to run it. But we haven't reached there yet. We've not made a decision on how it will be run. The ideal situation is to have a private sector engagement, maybe through a PPP, so that we have the private sector efficiency injected into the running of the facility, but with oversight from government. That's a model we will adopt moving forward. But first things first, we want to complete the facility first before we can engage on how it will be run and who will run. But it will be a facility that will be run that way, but allow access to everybody who has livestock to export, because it's a quarantine facility, which you want to bring your animals there for certification, to know that they are disease-free, so that you can be able to get the certificates and then be able to export. So it is going to help us open markets for our livestock internationally, Middle East and elsewhere, where the demand is very high. So the urgency now is to complete the project and then immediately embark on operationalization so that it can start to work. Now, when we reach there, we will tell you. But there is a lot of interest, for sure. A lot of interest.
I think that's
Even
enough.
countries that have been wanting to import livestock from Kenya have been coming, visiting this facility and saying this is a good facility. Once it starts operation, then we will be able to give you the requisite approvals for you to export your animals to our countries. So the importance of this facility cannot be overemphasized.
Maybe I have a question.
Yes.
Can you tell us what is remaining and by when do we expect this project to be fully completed?
In case the contractor will be available, the next contract.
Well, the project is you would say probably 50%. If you look at overall, because this one is most of the work is probably 70, some of the place 95%. So overall, you would say 50%. Because unfortunately, we not also looked against what is indicated here. We haven't accessed the cost NBQs for us to actually settle on real costs. So this is what we are going to do when we go back to our offices.
What value are we expecting the government to get after this project is completed?
It's very difficult to determine the value at this stage. I have just told you the wealth that our country has in terms of livestock. 80% of the livestock is in the semi-arid areas of our country, which forms 60% of the land mass. So the turnaround of that kind of value is not small. The value of our livestock, in fact, I was assessing the other day, just cattle and calves, is of 100 billion. Cattle and calves. I've not talked about other
Small stock.
small stock. I've just said cattle and calves. I've not talked about even leather, when you add value to it. I've talked of, cattle, just the cattle the way they are, and their calves, 100 billion. 100 billion, huge sector that I've not talked about goats, I've not talked about poultry, I've not talked, just cattle.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.